Hello from the Ophthalmologist and welcome to our first Rising Stars event. For 10 years, we have been honouring the most influential people in the field with our annual Power List, arguably the single biggest media event in the ophthalmology calendar. This year, we expanded the roll call with the Power List Hall of Fame, highlighting those Power Listers who have had the most significant impact on eye care over their careers. Now we extend the scope of the Power List to ophthalmologists and scientists who are at an earlier stage in their journey. The Ophthalmologist Power List Rising Stars programme creates a connection between the luminaries featured on the Power List and in the Hall of Fame, with individuals who are making waves in the industry, despite their relative youth. Each of our candidates has been nominated by one or more of the Power List alumni. This shortlist was then honed by our editorial team to create the final lineup, 10 rising stars who are following their own paths, building on the work of their mentors and forging new connections to advance the world of ophthalmology. We will follow our rising stars as they navigate their way through the field, keeping a close eye on their achievements and welcoming their input as the ophthalmologist embraces a new generation of experts and leaders. Our roster of candidates will grow each year as we continue to seek out and celebrate these stars of the future. So now it is my privilege to introduce the Ophthalmologist 2023 Rising Stars. Please join us in congratulating them on their success and in anticipating their next career steps with excitement. We caught up with 2023 Rising Star Dagny Zhu.
Hi, I'm Dr. Dagny Zhu. I'm a cornea, cataract, and refractive surgeon practicing as medical director and partner at NVISION Eye Centers in Rowland Heights, California. My educational background, I got my undergraduate degree at UCLA, did medical school at Harvard, trained in ophthalmology residency at USC Doheny, and did my fellowship training in cornea refractive surgery in Bascom Palmer, Miami. And on the personal side, I'm also the mom of the happiest 3-year-old boy named Atlas. And as someone who was raised as a first-generation immigrant by a single mom, I also identify quite a bit with hopefully being a role model and inspiring the next generation and sharing my upbringing with those who are aspiring to enter the field of healthcare. And I do that with close to 100,000 followers on social media. And that's just a little bit of background of who I am and what I believe in. So my parents immigrated to this country when I was 3 years old in search of better opportunities. And unfortunately, they divorced when I was very young. And so my mother ended up raising me as a single mom in a foreign land. And so my earliest memories were of me being home alone quite a bit because my mother unfortunately just had to work to pay the bills. And then at night, she would go to adult school to learn English. And then on the weekends, she would be working even more waitressing. But the thing about it is that she never made me feel like I was abandoned or neglected. In fact, her work ethic really inspired me to just work harder and really concentrate on my studies so that I could one day give back to her. And so everything that I have now, where I am in my career, even though she has no background in medicine or healthcare, she's actually became a bookkeeper, self-study. She inspired me to become who I am today. And a lot of what I saw in her growing up really contributed to me wanting to become a physician, to help others, and also to give back more than to myself, but to our whole community. And so I'm very grateful to my mom. And I apologize, I always tear up when I share this story. But she just made a huge impact on my life. So thank you. So I would say that my career so far has been more than I could ever imagine. Again, with my upbringing, I wanted to really find success for my mom to have a better place in the future. And so I really concentrated on education. And the first part of my life, I was really following all the right steps and doing all the right things, getting good grades, doing all the exams, applying medical school, et cetera, and following this very laid out path. And then once I graduated from training, sort of all of that structure went out the door when I was looking for my first job. I couldn't find a great associate position that I was passionate about. And this opportunity came up where I was able to purchase a large cataract refractive practice in my hometown. And so I took a huge risk, took out a lot of loans, asked for money from a lot of friends to help finance this deal. And so very early on, I was able to become owner of a practice as a solo surgeon. And I think doing that has really propelled my career forward. I'm very passionate about using the latest technologies to treat presbyopia for my patients, to provide, laser-assisted cataract surgery, refractive lens exchange using premium IOLs to get my patients out of glasses. And that's something that I'm very passionate about, and that's why I use the latest technologies. And as a result, I've been able to be the first surgeon in my area to use a lot of these new technologies, and also to work with industry and speak for a lot of companies, do a lot of research in this area. And it's just been extremely fulfilling. I've always seen my career as one that is multifaceted. And so I see myself as a clinician, researcher, speaker, and also teacher and mentor. And I've had the great opportunity to have medical students, residents, work with me, rotate with me even in private practice. And so it's just been a very enjoyable job. And I hope that my career will continue along that path where I'm able to also inspire the next generation to do the same thing, especially in the field of refractive surgery, which is relatively new and becoming more popular in recent years, and also somewhat male dominated. I love to encourage more women to enter this field, and I'm happy to guide them along the way. I think the future of ophthalmology looks a little bit like what's happening in my practice today. So I'm very fortunate to have bought a practice that was very forward thinking. So not only do we use the latest technologies to serve our refractive cataract patients, but we're also incorporating many techniques and services that increase efficiency and lower the cost, including office-based surgery, performing immediate sequential bilateral cataract surgery. I think with the aging population and as more and more patients need ophthalmic care, efficiency and cost savings are huge factors that ophthalmology is going to have to overcome. And so I see the future of ophthalmology streamlining some of the service that we're able to offer through these more out-of-the-box techniques. And part of my research is also looking at outcomes of immediate sequential bilateral cataract surgery in terms of the safety and the refractive accuracy, even with a premium IOL. I also see the future of ophthalmology being more streamlined thanks to the help of artificial intelligence and digital solutions. I work with a lot of startup companies that are developing different technologies that are helpful to the ophthalmologist to streamline their clinical workflow, perform diagnostics on patients with one machine, help us to predict using algorithms how a patient might see with a particular premium IOL. So all of these technologies are going to be based on artificial intelligence, big data. They're going to help us do a better job of serving our patients more so than we can today on our own. And I also see the future of ophthalmology being more female. So we're at a point in our lives where finally the proportion of women and men are equal in ophthalmology training. And very soon we're going to see that same equity manifest in practicing ophthalmologists today. So even today, there are more male practicing ophthalmologists than female, but that's going to change very soon. And following right after that, I'm going to be very excited to see more women in leadership positions so that it also reflects that 50-50 split. So those are all things I'm excited about, and I'm happy to hopefully contribute to as I provide mentorship and guidance to the next generation. I was drawn to ophthalmology because I wanted to do something where I could bring almost immediate life-changing results to my patients. And as you're a medical student, you're rotating through the different rotations, trying to figure out what your passion is. I quickly crossed off many things off my list because it just didn't check that box. And then when I saw ophthalmology, I one of the first people that I shadowed was James Chodosh at Mass Eye here at Harvard. And he's a corneal surgeon, and I saw him do a corneal transplant. And I was just in awe of not only the beauty of the surgery, the tiniest sutures. It was like dancing in the eye under the microscope. I thought it was so artistic and beautiful. But then also to see the patient the next day and have their life completely changed. It's one of those jobs that I think is so rewarding and also fun because you get to use the best technology. I also come from a very artsy background. I used to do a lot of painting, play classical piano, so I use my hands quite a bit. And this was a surgical field that really checked out that box too, because again, the surgery itself is so delicate, especially anterior segment surgery. So all of ophthalmology sort of brought my passions and my interests together. And I'm so glad that I chose that field. And I can't imagine myself doing anything else today. So in terms of a highlight in my career so far, there are a number to choose from. I would say, buying into my practice, which was definitely a huge stepping stone for me and really the launching pad for where I am today. Being the first one in one of the first surgeons in Los Angeles to implant the PanOptix trifocal lens, which was the first trifocal lens to get FDA approved in the US. That was a huge milestone for me as well. And then also just joining my colleagues and mentors whom I admire so much and being nominated and accepted to become a member of Cedars Aspen. That was also a highlight of my career. And later this fall, I'll be attending the American Academy of Ophthalmology, and I'll be on the main stage of Specialty Day for refractive surgery, speaking as well. So I very much look forward to that. Oh, one more highlight that just came to mind. In terms of research highlights, I won Best Paper of the session for ASCRS for one of my first investigator-initiated studies looking at outcomes of refractive lens exchange with a trifocal IOL. And so that was certainly a very proud moment because it was a culmination of all my research, especially as a newly minted attending, and also as a mentor to some of the medical students and residents that I worked with. So that was very, very satisfying. I think it's so incredibly difficult to predict what legacy you want to leave behind and what you want to do by the end of your career. I think some of the best things that you accomplish are those things that you don't plan for. Sort of how I got to where I am today. None of this I planned for. But when it does happen, I think that it happens from a place of sincerity. You let things, take their natural course, and I think that's when the best results occur. And so I'm hopeful that I can just continue following my path of innovating within the refractive surgery space, especially in the realm of presbyopia correction, which I still feel is the holy grail of cataract and refractive surgery today, and perhaps to provide insights as well to perhaps preventative treatments and technology for cataract development. I certainly hope to make a mark in that legacy by innovating with companies, with startups, which I've enjoyed very much doing this early in my career. And I think that beyond making an impact in my local community, which is something that I hope to do more of in the next 5 years as I expand my practice, I work in a community that's very diverse. I'm trilingual. I speak Chinese and Spanish as well. And I'm hoping to be able to bring the best technology in refractive surgery to serve those patients in my community. But beyond that, I'm also hoping to make a global impact and bring refractive surgery to the world. Two of the most common sources of preventable blindness are cataract and refractive error. And I would love to see that addressed globally. And I'm hoping to bring refractive surgery and that level of technology to underserved parts of the world. And I currently have a project in the works in Southeast Asia. And so if I can make an impact internationally, that would just be icing on the cake for my career. But right now I'm just hoping for the best and just doing what I love and just seeing where the future takes me. So right now in Southeast Asia, as is with the rest of the world, there's a huge myopia boom. 50% of the world will become myopic by 2050. And there are more patients who wear glasses and contact lenses in Southeast Asia than there are refractive surgeons to serve them. So I'm hoping to set up a state-of-the-art refractive surgery center and hopefully healthcare system in Southeast Asia to serve those patients. I think a lot of times refractive surgery is sort of left on the wayside. It's not considered a true disease, but again, it is one of the leading causes of preventable blindness. We have many patients who cannot work or who are not physically able to wear glasses or contact lenses every day. And so I think refractive surgery is such a huge service that we could provide to these patients. And I think it should be an opportunity and a surgical option for patients everywhere. So I think that our field is already doing so many wonderful things to make it easier for women to become ophthalmic surgeons. Seeing more women in leadership roles and having those mentors in place, I think is the number one thing that we can do to help the next generation. Because when you see someone who looks like you and is going through the same struggles as you, it's encouragement that inspires you to go down that path. I think if we can also start to analyze more the reasons for the gender pay gap in ophthalmology and implementing some of the strategies to combat unconscious bias that may lead to some of that pay discrepancy, as well as instilling, more programs to help female residents who want to start families early, help them with maternal leave, implement more programs to help them, to help women with breastfeeding, at conferences. So it's all of these small things that we can continue to focus on to help women attain that level playing field so that they can be successful in ophthalmology and hopefully be able to achieve one of those leadership positions. We already have a lot of this research coming out showing that the discrepancy exists. We just need more information on why that happens to guide us in our implementation and solutions and finding solutions for that problem. I don't think I can pick just one ophthalmic hero. I feel like I stand on the shoulders of so many giants. But a few that come to mind who are dear mentors to me even today. One would be Margaret MacDonald. She was the first female president of ASCRS, the first person in the whole country to use the excimer laser. And so she was definitely a pioneer of refractive surgery. And so many of my current mentors, those who I work with on my podcast, actually, Kathy McCabe, Susan McDonald, Laura Yeti, Laura Perriman, Audrey Rostov. For them, Margaret MacDonald was their idol mentor too. And so she really paved the way for women in ophthalmology. And along those lines, I'm just grateful to all the women in ophthalmology today, especially those in leadership positions, because it gives me something to really aspire to and shows me that, yes, it is achievable, especially now more than ever. I can't even imagine the obstacles they had to overcome back in the day when it was even more of a male-dominated field. And so their passion and their intelligence and their drive is definitely something that keeps pushing me forward and wanting to do better for our field. Another hero that really inspires me because of his story is actually Charles Kellman. And so I recently learned about his story and how he brought phaco emulsification to ophthalmology and really set the path for what is modern cataract surgery today. And just hearing about how much pushback he got in the beginning for this new and potentially dangerous innovation that ultimately led to, improvement of millions of lives today. It really shows me how we have to keep pushing for innovation. We have to keep doing the research to show safety and efficacy, and how we can't let others bring us down. I really love the fire and the courage that he demonstrates throughout his story. and it's something that I hope to instill more of in my career.